Welcome to the program, Clint.
Thank you very much.
Great pleasure to meet you, although I think myself, like a lot of other people, feel that we know you, but you and I really haven't met or haven't spent any time together, so I'm looking forward to this.
Well, we actually met years ago at the Comedy Store.
Oh, that's right. I remember that you would come by and you were
a weatherman that
right.
was
That's
doing a comedy thing.
Great fan of comedy. And,
I loved it. It was great. It was your favorite routine, I think, was eating at Colonel Sanders and ordering a bucket of beaks.
That's right.
I remember.
Exactly
I thought, you see, it still gets a laugh.
Yes.
So, even with somebody else.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Now, talking about people beginning careers and so forth, tell us about your early interest in movies. Is that something that came naturally, something that came early to you? Was there somebody in film that you admired, wanted to be like? How did that happen?
I think it just growing up. Of course, I grew up before they had television, so before they had radio, we had. We had. We listened and watched movies. You go to the whole families went to movies in those days, and I grew up with all of the so-called golden age crowd of the 40s and 30s, 40s, and 50s.
There's guys like Gary Cooper and Clark Gable and
absolutely,
yeah. And at what point did you think, well, I can actually do this for a living? How did that occur to you?
I did think I could do that for a living. In fact, sometimes I still have my doubts, but you just kind of get into it. I got interested in it when I was in the Army. I was in the service with some other actors, and I thought this looked like a good racket. And then after I got out of the service, I was going to college in LA City College, and I got a chance to become a contract player at Universal Pictures. And it was a pretty good deal. There was only 4 or 5 guys, and there was about 20 women. And the odds were good, so you can see the motivation for getting into all this now. But anyway, whatever the motivation was, it turned out fine, and I got to make a living at something I like doing.
Yeah, and a contract player, this is, you would just be assigned to various projects at Universal? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, most of the time, if you were lucky, they'd give you bit parts. You could go down and play in bit parts and hang out anyway, watch movies, how they're made, what have you, and go to classes. And go to classes in the evening. We'd go out and audit whoever the acting coach of the year was in town.
And how did you get from there to Europe making westerns with Sergio Leone?
That goes back a ways. I got thrown out of the studio after about 1.5 years. They got bored with me, so they kicked me out. And I went out and I started doing a lot of parts on television, and then finally I got a show called Rawhide, which played in the...
Is Rawhide still shown around the world? Can people still see it?
They're all way too young to even remember the show.
Apparently not.
I suppose in some areas it is, yeah. Yeah, and it was, but anyway, it was a great show, and I had a steady job for the first time in my life in the acting profession. And not many steady jobs in that, so I played in that series up through the mid-'60s. But in the early '60s, I went over and worked with Sergio Leone to do a few pictures, and they turned out to be relatively successful.
Yes, very successful. And working with Sergio Leone at the time, did you know that this guy was a master and a visionary, or was this just another gig for you?
He'd only directed one picture prior to that, but he was a clever guy, and he was actually taking a story, a Kurosawa film called Yojimbo, which is a film I had a big affection for. And so when they said it was a remake of Yojimbo, I jumped right on it. And so ironically, I'm now a Japanese director as of recently.
Well, it is interesting because I'm guessing that while there must have been some people on the crew that spoke English when you were in Europe making those films, not everybody, I would guess, right?
Not everybody. Yeah. It took what you could get. I mean, they were usually co-productions, and they'd be Spanish, Italian, or German co-production. So every production had to have so many actors in it. Sometimes they couldn't speak English, so you were talking with somebody who would be speaking German back to you.
And now,
confusing.
directing this motion picture and the one previous to it, did all of your actors in those productions also speak English or not?
Well, yeah, Flags of Our Father was all in English, but the Letters from Iwo Jima is all in Japanese, with the exception of 2 or 3 scenes.
Mm-hmm. And no communication problems there? Everything was all right?
Not really.
Yeah.
Just kind of wave, and you get go back to the Italian gestures. But the Japanese don't use those gestures, so that doesn't work. So eventually, but you have interpreters. We had a couple.
But I read something today when you were working with Sergio Leone about the language circumstance, and you said you learned from that experience that acting is acting. Does that hold up? Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, that was a great experience at that particular time, because when you the key to acting is listening well, and so when you're listening to somebody in another language, all of a sudden you're really listening, because if you don't know quite follow.
Yeah. Tell me about your experience, the kind of the big experience that you had in your tour of duty with the Army. There was a plane crash, forced landing, something like that?
Well, we piled up in the ocean off of Point Reyes, California, but that wasn't the experience. It's been so many years ago now. I've forgotten about it. I probably, if I told the story, it would probably be exaggerated about 4 times over. But it did work pretty well, because it got me out of the Navy. It was a Navy plane, even though I was in the Army. So the Navy asked me to stand by for a hearing. Well, the hearing never came, so I just sort of sat there at Fort Ord and worked at the swimming pool for 2 years.
Wow.
It was a tough way to get out of going overseas, but it worked.
So that experience, it really had nothing to do. It gave you no insight, no knowledge or experience with regard to the films that you've just recently made, did it?
No.
Now let's talk about this Letters from Iwo Jima. This is fascinating for a dozen or more reasons. First of all, tell people your interest in the subject, what the subject is, and how that began. I guess part of that it will answer itself, but tell us how it all started.
Well, it started, I was asked, Steven Spielberg asked me to come over to DreamWorks and direct a film called Flags of Our Fathers, about the American invasion of Iwo Jima, which was about the toughest battle the Marine Corps had ever had. And I'd liked the book very much, so I said I'd do it. Well, in the preparation of this film, I kind of got the idea. I kind of was wondering what made the battle so difficult, and so I figured maybe I had to learn something about the other side. So I got a book about some letters that this General Kurobayashi sent home, and about his home to his family, especially when he was even an envoy to the United States in the late 20s, early 30s, and then later on Iwo Jima. And they were all a concerned father, worrying about his son and his daughter, and worrying about their spelling, and worrying about the usual things that all fathers do. And pretty soon you start realizing that we're all in this, even though no matter what side you're on, you all have the same emotions. And the main emotion is, of course, you'd rather be somewhere else than where you are.
Mm-hmm. And just having made the United States perspective of this battle, and now making the Japanese perspective, they're both valid, of course, and it was considered a turning point in the war in the Pacific. It was.
Well, it was the first. It was the first of the islands that where it was Japanese soil that the Marines invaded. Most of it was taking back other islands in the Pacific that had been overrun by the Japanese. So when they got to, it became very, very important for the Japanese to maintain control of the island, and it became very important for us to have the island, because it was had an airfield on it, and was right in line with the Marianas and Tokyo. So it was.
Strategically, the Japanese then, unbeknownst to the Americans, were at a disadvantage, or was it a fairly even fight?
No, they were disadvantaged because they were greatly outnumbered, and the equipment, and the island has nothing on it. It has no water or anything. Everything has to be brought in. And when they went there, they were sent out there and then told later on that there was going to be no resupplying or what have you. And so they were told, in essence, that you're going to die. So just don't plan on coming home.
What does this do to one's sense of empathy, having seen both sides of this horrific struggle?
Well, it just shows you the different cultures at the time. It would be a hard sell if you told Americans to go on over there and fight and don't plan on coming home. That's a hard sell. Right. But anyway, they struggled and starved and went through some tremendous hardships. And so telling it from their perspective was great, because they put up a tremendous fight, and the Marines is well trained, and what a crack organization it is. It took them a month or so to take the island, where they thought it was going to be a 2 or 3 day deal.
Yeah. And you were actually given permission to shoot some of the film on Iwo Jima, is that correct? Yeah. And that had not happened before, had it?
No, they hadn't. I don't think anybody's ever filmed there before. But the mayor of Tokyo, who had some reservations, but he happens to be a filmmaker. He's directed a few films and written a few screenplays. And so he was very sympathetic. He thought, okay, well, what the hell?
This is also, you did the music for this film?
I did it for Flags. Actually, my son did it for this one.
Yeah. And what has been the personal reaction you've gotten from this project?
Well, it's been very good so far. The screenings seem to be going well, and I hear it's going well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And veterans, Japanese veterans, American veterans have had a chance to see it?
I don't know if American veterans have had a chance to see it yet, though there's a great curiosity from most of them I've talked to, because an awful lot of the Marines who were on Iwo never actually ever saw the enemy, because they were all hidden in caves and underground. So they were interested in the perspective now, 61 years later. But I think it's hopefully between both of these sides of the story, both sides of this story, they will give us a better understanding of where we are in the world, and how war is not necessarily a fun adventure.
Yeah. The look of the film, as I was watching it, you think. It's not black and white. It's I wouldn't say sepia applies, because there is some vivid color, and then there is also the stark absence of color. How is that achieved?
That's achieved by just desaturation. It is saturated for. You can balance the film any way you want, actually, after it's shot. But I planned on keeping it somewhat desaturated, because there's an awful lot of night stuff and dark stuff, and the war is not a bright, shiny thing. I've seen a lot of footage in Technicolor of war, and it never looks quite as good as the black and white.
Right. Never having been to Iwo Jima, never having been at war, I do have an impression of what both situations, both the location and the circumstance, must be like, because I think the color or the desaturation is quite provocative.
Yeah, and Iwo Jima I've been there 3 times. It's a very interesting place. The first time you walk out on the beaches there, in the black sand that's several feet deep, you realize what a tough job it must have been to really invade that island and come up through there, especially with people shooting at you. And it's not a place you want to go. Your second prize is 2 weeks there.
Did you, I mean, this is a ridiculous question, but look who's asking it. Did you ever imagine that one day you would produce and direct a Japanese-speaking film with English subtitles?
No. Never,
I see.
Never did, but it seemed like the thing to do, and I'm at the age in life where, what can they do to you? So I just kind of go ahead and try it.
All right.
Thank you very much for being here, Clint. How dare he interrupt a trombone solo?
Ah.
Next thing, you'll be interrupting a drum solo.
Hey, no, you're right. You are the master. You're right. Never do it. Bass solo, that's another story.
How you doing, Clint?
Good. I'm doing good, thanks.
Good. Would you like to check your coat?
You know, I would have normally checked it, but the temperature is,
I know.
is quite low in here. I don't know. And you could hang some meat.
Hey, what the heck with the show? Let's hang some meat. What do you say?
Now you're talking.
I have here, let's do this. You want to do this a little bit?
Sure.
Some of your films. I think this may be the entire filmography. 1955, is that when you started making big pictures? Revenge of the Creature, do you remember that?
That was big.
Yeah?
That was really big, yes.
How old a guy were you then?
25.
And you played a jet fighter who shot down the creature, is that right?
Yes.
Or is that the next one? And I'm sorry, maybe that was Tarantula. Was that Tarantula?
That was Tarantula.
Tarantula, okay.
Tarantula. That was another biggie.
Yeah.
But you know, they don't show much of me, and I might as well have had a sack over my.
I think we have a second or two of Tarantula, 1955. You were busy in
That'll
55.
be more than adequate.
This is Clint Eastwood. There, you're fighter.
right, Ben.
There you are.
Yeah.
Fire 2 rockets on this first pass.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dump them all.
There you go. I like the folks just standing in the street, getting a good view. And now, I think this was your first collaboration with Sergio Leone. Is that correct? 1964, A Fistful of Dollars. Is that right?
That was.
Yeah. Now, these things, I think, revitalized westerns and kind of changed how they participated in American culture. They had a different look, a different feel. How did you decide to go and make westerns with an Italian director in Spain? How did those things come together?
It was a crazy idea, but I was a big fan of Kurosawa's Yojimbo, and I had seen that some years before, and this was a remake of Yojimbo, or a Western interpretation thereof. And so I thought, great, I'm stupid enough to try that.
And were the films originally shot in a different language or originally shot in English?
They were shot in every language that the person could speak. In other words, if the actor were a German actor, they'd speak German, they'd speak English, I'd speak English, and somebody else would speak Spanish, somebody else would speak Italian, because they were a co-production, you know, and they didn't have time to bring everybody up to speed, and they didn't subtitle.
Oh, so it was subtitled, and then later were they all then looped into
They
English?
were all looped back in, yeah.
Into English, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we followed that up with For a Few Dollars More. Do you have a favorite of these that you did with Sergio Leone?
Oh, they were all fabulous.
Yeah. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a great one. Now, I'm skipping a few.
Yeah,
Here's a
I
great
hope
one.
so.
1971. I can remember seeing this in a theater. 1971. Play Misty for Me.
Yeah.
How about that?
Thank you.
And you directed that film.
I did.
Yeah. 1971 also, Dirty Harry. A lot of people think you played Dirty Harry in that film, but you were actually his assistant, Steve.
I was.
Oh, man.
It was a living, but I had to take credit for it.
Yeah. At what point did you say to yourself, I think I can direct these movies? I mean, pretty early on, 71, you directed.
1970, yeah, we made Play Misty. It was released maybe in 71, but in 1970, and it was, I always wanted to do it. I wanted to direct back in the old Rawhide days, and I never got the opportunity, and then I just finally got the opportunity. I said, I'll do this picture if you let me direct it.
Right. And is it executing your vision? Is it being in control? Is it what drives a person? What makes a person
I think
want
it's
to?
executing the vision. You have a friend of mine wrote the story, and I'd had an experience something like that in the picture, so I thought that'll be fun. I'll put the
So you actually had experienced something like that in the film?
something,
Really?
yeah.
Some sort of a weird connection with a weird
Woman.
female
Yes.
admirer?
Yeah. It was something just close enough not
Close enough, yeah. Not close enough for litigation, but close enough for a...
no
Yeah.
litigation. Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Oh, man.
How
And-
did we live this long? I know
Well,
you're celebrating your 9th anniversary.
yes, I am.
But I'm celebrating a lot longer than that.
How old are you, Clint?
78.
78 years old. Oh, my God. When they see you in this movie, Gran Torino, you look, you look just like you look here, for God's sakes.
Yeah, 78.
No, you don't. I look 78. You look 58 is what you
I'll
look.
tell you something. I tell you, we get you to an ophthalmologist right away.
What about Paul Newman? Buddies with Paul Newman?
Yeah, I like Paul very much. We never worked together, but we'd come across each other on different projects along the way. He was a good guy.
Yeah. It seems odd that the two of you didn't have something to do in a film together, doesn't it?
Yeah, we never did, but that would have been nice. I was an admirer of his.
When you were in a position early on when you would go in and visit with directors or go in and read for a part, I mean, like famous, did you, for example, I think the chronology would work that Alfred Hitchcock, did you ever cross paths with Alfred Hitchcock?
You know, I never worked with Hitchcock. I did go on an interview once, or actually an interview. They said to come over. At Universal asked me if I would come over and visit with him. He had a project he wanted me to do with him, and but they told me at that time his health might not might preclude doing that project. But I went over and had lunch with him, and it was kind of like watching a piece of history.
Yeah. Did you admire his work at the time?
Yeah, I admired his work, and I walked in the room. It was very interesting because when I walked in the room, he never moved. He never moved a muscle. He was just sitting there, and just his eyes would follow you as you walk across the room, just like that. And I thought, well, he died, and maybe something had gone wrong there. But,
Yeah, he's dead.
But we didn't. We finally walked over to a table and sat down and had a meal. It took us about 15 minutes to get over there, but it was great.
Yeah.
And but he was terrific, but very lucid when we started talking. He was terrific.
This, I see down here, 1992 Unforgiven, Academy Award Best Picture Director, nominated for Best Actor, Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman. I can remember, I've seen this movie 2 or 3 times, and I said to you at the time, not that you would remember it, to me that movie was like a nice, very entertaining, well-told novel. And each scene was like a page or a chapter in a novel. It just was perfectly executed on screen.
Well, it was written. There was a wonderful script written by a fellow named David Peoples, and I bought it in 1980 and didn't do it till 1992, and I just kind of put it in a drawer and figured when I get a little older, this would be a great last Western for me, and so far it still has been the last Western for me.
And you think there will not be another Western, do you think?
Maybe not.
What about you and me, a buddy Western picture?
Now you're talking.
One of the stars, one of the lesser stars, although it's in the title of the film, is the Gran Torino, the car. I know you have some affinity for automobiles. Do you have anything hot now that you're driving? Anything? Do you collect cars? Any that you have memories of that you love?
I have a couple cars, but there's nothing particularly hot. But when I looked at the Gran Torino, I thought that's a hot-looking car, and I often wondered why Detroit or whatever automaker anywhere in the world wouldn't make that into a hybrid or make that into a electric car or something.
Right.
And one of the problems with hybrids and stuff is nobody ever made a sexy one. They always look kind of stupid, you know.
Right.
I think they would have. We could have gotten on the bandwagon with this a lot earlier if somebody had really made one that was sharp looking.
Well, what would it take to convert a traditional internal combustion engine car into an electric car? Just a bit like a Mustang or anything, like the Gran Torino, whatever you want.
I haven't the foggiest idea, really.
All right, well, that's a start.
Not having really worked in a automobile factory, but I think maybe the Tesla is kind of a sexy little car they're coming out with.
Right.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it seems to me like if they can do that, if they can make that car, and I understand the range is about 200 miles, which is pretty good.
That's not
It's
bad.
pretty good. And then I heard that Chevy is working on a Volt, not yet in production, but working on it. And if everything goes well, the range on that will be 40 miles.
60, 80 billion dollar.
Yeah, I know.
They need more government dollars, you know.
A lot of problems. Do you think to yourself, and I certainly feel that way, that as we go forward, things are far more complicated than they ever used to be? Do you get that sense?
Seems so. It seems so, and it seemed like in the old days, Packard went out, Studebaker went out, Hudson, all these various cars went out, and nobody bailed them out. They just kind of went out.
Yeah.
And not that I wish anybody to. I think I'd love to see the American automobile business do terrific, but maybe they have to rethink it.
I mean, you're talking about electric cars. I think that you could hire quite a lot of people to work on electric cars, you know, and maybe kind of help save the planet as well. I had a couple of years ago, I had a bad year. I didn't go to the government for money.
Don't give up.
Yeah, all right. Well, are you now politics? You were how many terms were you the mayor of Carmel?
Just one.
One. How many years was that? 4? 4-year term. 2-year term.
Yeah, it was they were council seats are 4 and mayoral is 2, and I said I'll try for the mayoral. I like the 2-year idea.
Right. And the idea, the motivating point was something. What made you want to become the mayor?
Masochism. Actually, I had we wanted to a group of us wanted to replace the administration that was in there. We didn't think they were very helpful to the community, at least in our opinion. And so we had a bunch of wines. We were sitting around and. You run for this, and I'll run for that. And then somebody says, Clint, he says, why don't you run for mayor? We'll break this town wide open. And I said,
Yeah, it'll be another Hong Kong. And then, and when you got in the position when you were elected, you must have been frustrated. Then, okay, I'm the mayor. Oh gosh, it's just as hard as it looked.
yeah.
Or harder than it looked, right?
Yeah, it is harder than it looks. It's one of those things, the good news is your mayor, and now the bad news is your mayor.
That's right. Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being in politics, but I didn't want to go any further than that. So.
But in terms of being a director, it's similar to being a mayor because you're solving problems from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep. Is
Exactly, but a director is more of a dictator. It's more of a benign dictator. They're solving the problem the way you want to solve it. You don't have to go before a committee, have public hearings and everything on every shot you make. Otherwise, it would take forever to make a film.